What's this? A new series to the channel? That it is, ladies and gentlemen. I have now figured out a way to cover the sport of boxing in a way that I think makes sense because the sport does not make a lot of sense. And that is through monthly recaps of some of the biggest cards from the biggest promoters and all the title fights and all that good stuff. So that is what we're starting today with January 2026. All the big cards going on here, all the results, everything that it means basically. And we're just gonna start from here, man. Let's go through some of these cards. There were some pretty big fights in January that some pretty interesting ones. Some new promotions popped up, so let's dive right into this, man. First fight I want to briefly talk about was Jose Tito Sanchez and his performance against Jesus Eduardo Ramirez Rubio on the Friday Night Fights card that is hosted by Golden Boy Promotions. I'm pretty tapped into Golden Boy at this point, so this is a pretty interesting prospect. I think he's gonna achieve the ranks pretty soon here. So yeah, and I just wanted to shout out his performance against Ramirez. He did look really good here. He got a 6th round TKO stoppage, so I'm excited to see how he does going forward and who he fights to achieve that kind of rank status. I'm anticipating he does pretty well going forward. So Jose Tito Sanchez is someone to look out for. Raul Curiel versus Jordan Pantherin. Now, this was, of course, supposed to be the rematch of IBF-ranked welterweights Raul Curiel and Alexis Focha, but Focha had to pull out at the last minute due to an illness. So, the 29-year-old 11-1 prospect, Jordan Pantherin, would step in, and the fight goes ahead at a 154-pound catchweight. Pantherin, with the size advantage, started the fight utilizing a stiff jab and head movements to keep Curiel up close. Good body combinations and good uppercut. Pantherin kept the pressure on, but Curiel played it smart, waited for his moment, using the speed advantage to throw good counters and his own body shots. Eventually, the counters were starting to take a toll on Pantherin, who started to slow down in the second half of the fight. The uppercut kept working really well for Curiel, as did the body strikes. From the 6th round on, it was all Curiel. Pantherin would seriously hurt in moments all the way until the end, until Curiel was able to get the win via unanimous decision. I do expect the Focha rematch to eventually take place, so it'll be interesting to see who wins that and gets one step closer to a welterweight title shot, but for now, this was a pretty standardly good performance from Curiel. Up next, the IBF Super Welterweight Champion Bakhram Murtazaliev looks to defend his title for the second time against number 5 ranked Josh Kelly in Kelly's home country of England. Murtazaliev started the fight pretty strong here, finding his range quicker than expected, throwing body shots at every chance he could. Kelly chose to hold his feet in exchange, catching Murtazaliev with left hooks, eventually leaving a graze under his right eye. Kelly would score a knockdown in the 4th with a perfectly timed jab after Murtazaliev overcommitted to a right hand, but he got up pretty quickly. Every time Murtazaliev found some momentum, he would be hit with some pretty big shots, not being able to put anything together except for some single shots, until the 9th when he dropped Kelly with a hard left hook that really looked to stun him, with him being barely able to survive the round. The two would trade momentum for the rest of the fight, some very close 10th and 11th rounds, but Kelly would build up momentum against ending the fight looking good. The fight would be scored a majority decision, but it was Kelly who would get the nod. Very close fight, an exciting one, and we'll see what's next for Josh Kelly. It seems that Jaron Ennis is a potentially targeted next fight for him, so we'll see how he does against that. But very good stuff from the new IBF World Super Welterweight Champion. Zuffa Boxing has entered the atmosphere. This is, of course, the Dana White promotion. Mostly, I'm going to spend most of this time talking about this because I don't think this fight was very interesting. Zuffa Boxing, if its approach to boxing is presented as the way that we are promised, I do think this will be a very easy boxing watch compared to some of the other promotions. I think, it'll, like, again, as a UFC fan, I am someone that prefers their way of presenting fights and how they do it in their rankings and all that kind of stuff, so hopefully they are able to deliver on that. I don't know how much of, like, the promoters of these fighters and the fighters themselves will want to allow control like that, but as a fan of the UFC, that's something I would like to see. There are still a lot of things I don't like about Zuffa Boxing. One, first of all, they're still in this fucking Apex building. The whole promotion itself is called Zuffa Boxing, which is one of the most soulless, uninspired, dystopian-ass names for a boxing promotion I've heard. And then there's this card, which was mostly just alright. But this main event was also pretty disappointing in my opinion. Callum Walsh mostly dominated by utilizing a southpaw straight right and dancing around the ring. Other than that, he really wasn't landing jabs or putting combinations together, which allowed for Ocampo to see out the 10-minute distance. Once Walsh realized he was not going to be able to KO Ocampo immediately like Spence or Zhao, he mostly just coasted until the final bell and won via unanimous decision. I didn't even bother to mention the knockdown that Ocampo landed because it meant so little for the fight and was barely considered one. I hope it gets better. I think when we get to a point where they are actually hosting like big main event arena shows with some of the best boxers, because there is a lot of attention from some very good boxers in this promotion, so we'll see how that goes going forward. Callum Walsh is not really a guy I would consider as like a big first star, you know, especially coming off his fight on the Canelo Crawford card. It wasn't a very impressive one, so I don't think there's a lot of real hype going around this guy in terms of like being the next big thing in boxing. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of hoping out for it. I don't like what I'm being promised from them is very intriguing and very exciting, maybe, so we'll see. It is, I think I consider it the lesser of the two evils, so we'll see how the whole promotion goes forward. And of course Callum Walsh eventually making his way to becoming a Zuffa middleweight champion, dude. Isn't that great? We get to have more titles, so even more people can be champion. We have more world title fights. Isn't that what we all want? We all want more world title fights in our boxing, so very exciting stuff, I guess, going forward. Raymond Muratalla looked to defend his IBF World Lightweight title against 6-0 Andy Cruz. You might see that record and think, how is he deserving a fight? Well, Andy Cruz is one of the best amateur boxers ever. He's like 140-9 in amateur bouts and has won Olympic gold at Tokyo 2020. So this is a very intriguing fight, very fair fight to make, and a very exciting one. The fight itself was very close. It was very competitive. Cruz was on his back foot majority of the time. Despite this, his jabs and right hands worked very well. Muratalla would counter with up-close combinations and some good body work. Momentum swung back and forth. It came down to the championship round, which Muratalla looked better in via ring control, which probably got him the nod in the end, as he won via majority decision. Muratalla is pretty great, man. I think outside of like some of the other guys, like just below guys like Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson, he is right up there as one of the best lightweights in the world right now, so he's a very exciting fighter to see going forward. I think he has what it takes to at least challenge for unified and undisputed titles, so we'll see how that goes on going forward, or if he just likes to look for more opponents from lower end down the rankings. That's also very cool. The lightweight division was a very busy one this month, so a lot of things shaking out, so I'm excited to see how that all plays out going forward, and to talk about some more stuff later on in the video. As Josh Kelly became the new IBF Super Welterweight Champion in England, in Puerto Rico, the WBA and WBO Super Welterweight Champions Xander Zayas and Abbas Barrow had themselves a unification bout. The first half of the fight saw Zayas utilize his speed and forward advantage, keeping the fight moving and making cleaner connections. Barrow would try to get something going in the second half, trying to apply pressure, and by the time we got to the championship rounds, Barrow put his foot on the gas and left it all in the ring, which left both guys trading blows until the final bell. In the end, it was Zayas who got the split decision win. I had Zayas winning it, so I think that's a little crazy to me that it was end up being a split decision win. I don't really see a way that you could argue Barrow, which rounds you would argue Barrow won the fight off of, but regardless of that, he has now become the youngest boxer in history to become a unified world champion, which is pretty fucking nuts, dude. Zayas himself seems to have his sights set on becoming an undisputed champion, or guys like Virgil Ortiz or Sebastian Fundora, so we have those potential fights to look forward to, but this guy is pretty special, man. I think he's going to be someone to watch out for in the coming weeks, or in the coming months, I should say. So keep an eye on this one, guys. I like him a lot. Agit Kabayel versus Damian Naiba. Agit has seen a lot of undercard time on some pretty big stages, most recently defeating Zheli Zhang on the Bivol Bitter BF2 card to win the WBC Interim Heavyweight Championship. So here he's looking to defend it against 17-0 Damian Naiba from Poland in his home country of Germany. These German fans are really awesome, man. These guys are really behind their guys. This was actually a very, very fun fight to watch. First round was pretty wild. Naba would catch Kabayel during a close-up exchange that left him with a cut above the eyelid. Kabayel would respond with forward pressure even though Naiba's curling hooks through the guard. Kabayel would keep at it, just chopping right hands at short distance. Naiba would look durable until the fight reached the third round, where the referee decided he had seen enough and called the fight off. It was a little bit early if you ask me, but he was clearly talking to Naiba, telling him to fight back, and Naiba was just kind of clinched up, absorbing shots, so it probably wasn't too long before the finish would come, so it's not the worst stoppage in the world. And yeah, he just defends his interim title. If you'd ask me, Kabayel should be next in line to face Usyk for the World Championships, but if that fight doesn't come together, you got guys like Filip Hrgovic, Lawrence Oakley, and Tony Yoka were all in attendance for his fight as like potential opponents and up next for the title, so it'll be interesting to see if who of those will be next in line for the title shot if like they don't go the Usyk route, which I think they should. But Kabayel is a very good heavyweight prospect right now. I'm excited to see how he does continue going forward. I like him a lot. I like his chances a lot. He's very good. Subriel Matthias looks to finally establish himself as the long reigning king of the super lightweights after his previous world title reign came to an end after just one successful defense, with a first defense of a second title reign against the ring's 7th ranked super lightweight Dalton Smith. The first round saw Smith fluently moving and boxing, while Matthias struggled to kind of find his rhythm. The second was much more of a brawl, with Smith being able to bust open Matthias' nose. In the third and fourth, Smith was jabbing, moving around, and holding Matthias whenever he got too close. Anytime Matthias tried something, Smith would have an answer for him. In the fifth, Smith looked visibly gassed but kept the pressure up, eventually stinging Matthias with a right, then a 2-punch combination that sent Matthias to the canvas, and the ref didn't like what he saw, stopping the fight. Dalton Smith is your new WBC super lightweight champion. Very dramatic fight, filled with struggle and endurance. This is everything I want in my boxing here, so this was awesome. I love this fight. Very good stuff here. Genuinely curious to see who he fights next, as our next fight talks about a big shakeup in this division. We'll see how kind of Dalton Smith kind of fits into this whole thing, but who knows, man. Our main event to talk about was Teofimo Lopez defending his WBO World Super Lightweight Championship against Shakur Stevenson, one of the best fighters on the planet. Stevenson, faced with his most accomplished, dangerous opponent, stuck to his defensive principles, jabbed very effectively, and consistently fought from his most comfortable range, eventually being able to defeat Lopez by unanimous decision, and is now the WBO Super Lightweight Champion. He becomes the 25th boxer in history to win world titles in 4 or more weight classes. Again, just established himself as one of the best of all time. Honestly, not too much to say here, man. This was a very one-sided fight. I think Lopez had very little answer for Stevenson throughout the entire thing. I don't think that there was not even a round really you could really give him. He was cut up, he was bruised, he was bloodied all the way up until the end. So Stevenson looked great, he looked fantastic. And yeah, like I said, he is now a super lightweight champion, just the same division as Dalton Smith. I don't know whether Stevenson will... He is at that level where he can just look for unified and undisputed championship fights. I wouldn't take that away from him if that's what he wants, and if Dalton Smith wants to try for that, which, you know, fuck it, you may as well try for it. That's a fight I think they should make, you know what I mean? I don't know what exactly is next. He kind of got into a scuffle with Conor Benn after the main event, so maybe that's where they're gonna go going forward. So we'll see, man. But you know, Stevenson's one of the best in the world. There's no doubting that. There's no denying that. So it's good to see that from him, man. It's really cool. That's it. Just as simple as that. Some big fights, some big movements, some big shifts in narratives from all across the boxing landscape. Pretty interesting stuff here, man. There was some good fights. There wasn't too many very exciting ones, but there were some good ones here. I like the Josh Kelly fight, and I like the Dalton Smith fight as well. Muratalla is also really great. Those are probably my favorite ones. Xander Zayas is really great. A lot of exciting prospects to be hyped up. A lot of hyped up prospects to be excited for going forward as they look to challenge for bigger and better things. So we will see how that plays out in the coming months. But for now, that is my recap of the January boxing, of the month of January in the boxing world. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, share, leave a comment down below what your thoughts and opinions are, and what maybe some predictions for fights going forward as well. If you want to see more boxing and just combat sports material in general, you can subscribe to the channel right here. That's going to do it for me, though. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.